The life and times of Leong Sin Nam is a remarkable Parakian story rooted in well-documented history. It draws from newspaper archives, national records, and the thesis written by Mr. Teo Guat Kim in 1957. Beyond being a personal account, this story sheds light on the Chinese migration to Malaya, a journey marked by resilience, challenges, and the struggles faced by migrants in their pursuit of a new life. The discovery of the Young Yu Lu, a red hardcovered souvenir book, revealed an important chapter in the life of Mr. Leong Sin Nam. Printed in 1937 to commemorate his receipt of the OB Award, it contained photographs of him and his medals, serving as both a personal keepsake and a memento for friends. Its survival is a testament to history and resilience. During the Japanese occupation of Malaya, the book's owner buried it for protection, retrieving it only after the Japanese withdrew. Given Mr. Leong Sin Nam's strong support for China's resistance against Japan, merely possessing the book during the occupation could have led to severe consequences. Today, its existence stands as a powerful reminder of the perseverance of those who safeguarded it. Chinese migration to Malaya began in the 15th century when Admiral Cheng Ho's diplomatic voyage established early connections with the Malacca Sultanate. This relationship paved the way for later migration, particularly with the British expansion in the region. In 1786, Captain Francis Light acquired Penang Island, turning it into a bustling trade center. Similarly, in 1819, Sir Stamford Raffles founded Singapore as a British colony, strengthening regional trade and migration networks. The largest wave of migration occurred between 1880 and 1940 as Chinese laborers, known as coolies, arrived in search of work. Many found employment in tin mines and rubber plantations, significantly shaping Malaya's economy. Merchants also contributed to the commercial landscape, establishing thriving Chinese communities that continue to be an integral part of Malaysia's cultural identity. Chinese migration was driven by a blend of economic, environmental, and political pressures. Widespread poverty, recurrent natural disasters, and a severe shortage of arable land left many Chinese struggling to sustain themselves, while the rapid population growth further strained limited resources. Additionally, political instability sparked by events like the Opium Wars, the Taiping Rebellion, and ongoing dynastic disputes created an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty, forcing many to leave their homeland. These factors, coupled with the lure of better opportunities abroad, sparked a significant migration wave that not only transformed communities within China, but also reshaped regions across Southeast Asia and beyond. Beyond these immediate push factors, it's worth noting that the migration contributed to the spread of Chinese culture and established vibrant overseas communities that played crucial roles in the economic and social development of their new homes. Mainland Chinese were drawn to Malaya by economic prospects, fueled by abundant tin mining and rubber plantation jobs. Rubber trees, introduced in northern Perak in 1877, thrived in the equatorial climate, yielding plentiful latex. Lenient colonial migration policies further bolstered the labor force. The rubber boom surged in 1910 alongside the rise of the U.S. automobile industry, and by the establishment of the Rubber Research Institute in 1925, Malaya ascended to become the world's largest rubber producer by 1930. The majority of Chinese migrants to Malaya came from the southern provinces, particularly Guangdong, with many originating from the Pearl River Delta region. Others hailed from Fujian and Hainan, contributing to the diverse cultural and linguistic landscape of the Chinese communities in Malaya. Their migration patterns were influenced by economic opportunities, trade connections, and colonial labor demands, shaping the Chinese presence in Southeast Asia. Southern Chinese migrants primarily voyaged by sea from provinces like Guangdong, especially the Pearl River Delta and Fujian. They sailed on boats and junks across the South China Sea, arriving at major ports such as Singapore and Penang, as well as smaller hubs like Malacca and Teluk Ansan in the Straits of Malacca. Additionally, some southern Chinese made their way to Vietnam. The Larat tin fields were the first to be discovered in Perak around the late 1700s and early 1800s. The Chinese settler were Hakkas and mainly from Penang. The railway from Larat to Port Weld was the first to be completed in Malaya, allowing the movement of tin ore out from the tin fields to a transit port before reaching Penang to be exported to Britain for smelting. In time to come, the first tin smelting plant would be built in Malaya at Butterworth, known as the Butterworth Smelting Works, built in 1902. Rich tin fields were discovered in Ipoh in the mid-1800s and attracted the Hakka miners. The first generation of rich miners were Leong Fi, Yo Tet Shin, and Fu Chu Chun, who were all Hakkas. Leong Sin Nam can be considered as the second generation of rich Chinese miners. The Kinta Valley was rich in alluvial tin. Later, more tin-bearing areas were discovered in Gopeng, Kuala Kangsar, Peipan, Teluk Ansan, and Sichuan, which attracted different ethnic groups like the Cantonese, Hokkiens, and Foochows. Tin could also be found in the form of lodes, but the vast majority, about 95% of the tin mined in the Kinta Valley, was from the alluvial sources. In the 1840s, the discovery of tin in Lerat marked the beginning of a burgeoning mining era in Perak. Years later, a curious incident would further underscore the region's rich mineral potential. In 1948, Chelong Jaffer's beloved pet elephant, C. Lerat, was moved from Lubok Merbau in Kuala Kangsar to Bukit Gondang. Shortly after arriving, the elephant mysteriously vanished for 3 days. When C. Lerat reappeared, he was inexplicably covered in hard, muddy lumps. Intrigued, Chelong Jaffer examined the clumps and discovered that they were rich in tin. Recognizing his lack of mining expertise, he journeyed to Penang and enlisted the help of 20 skilled Chinese miners. Their collaboration not only demystified the unusual occurrence but also laid the foundation for tin mining in Perak. In the late 1800s, more people came to settle in Lerat. It too became a hotbed of communal conflicts. These disputes were about the control of water resources for mining, gambling, some personal grievances, and mining land rights. Besides the Chinese, the Malays also had conflicts amongst their elites, and there was also the Perak Sultan succession disputes. The Perak Sultan sought British help, and the Treaty of Pankar was signed to settle the differences. At about the same time, the miners from Lerat began moving to the Kinta Valley as the Lerat tin fields were getting depleted. Richer tin deposits were discovered in the Kinta Valley, attracting miners from Lerat. How did the people travel in Perak? In the early 1880s, most people traveled along rivers to reach their destinations. Travel on land would be through cart roads where bullock carts were utilized and through bridle roads using horse-drawn carts and carriages. The railways were developed in late 1880 to transport the tin or from the mines. The railway link from Lerat to Port Weld was completed in 1885 and by 1908 extended to Ipoh, Trono, Peipan, Pusing, and Sipute. The British administrators installed the telegraph system in 1874, permitting faster communication between administrative towns. Palo Ku Miao is located by the side of the Kinta River, is one of the oldest Chinese temple in Ipoh. It was founded in Ipoh in 1872 by Leong Fi, who brought the deity, Tai Pak Kung, the god of blessing and ethics, from Penang. Chinese disembarking from the boats would seek the deity's blessings for good health and prosperity. The Pankar Treaty ended the Lerat Wars. Sultan Abdullah became the next sultan instead of Ismail. The British residential system was established with James W. Birch as the first British resident of Perak. The resident advised the sultan on all matters, except Malay religion and customs, oversaw the collection of revenue, and general administration. The administration provided political stability, improved trade and investments, and initiated infrastructure development. The British residential system became the model for the Federated Malay States later in 1895. This is a picture of the All Saints Church in Taiping. The Anglican church with Gothic architecture was established in 1887. There was a great fire in Ipoh in 1892. Half the town was burnt down, making way for the town redevelopment, with brick houses built along a structured grid pattern with wide roads separating the rows of shop houses. Empress Dowager Cixi of the Qing dynasty ruled China during this time of great uncertainty, with rival factions wanting to change China's imperial ruling system. There were the reformists who wanted to modernize the political, legal, and education systems of the time. They introduced the 100 Days Reform, self-strengthening movement, and tried to renegotiate the foreign treaties. However, the revolutionaries wanted to overthrow the Qing dynasty. Dr. Sun Yat Sen started the Tongminhui, while Huang Xing was a leader of the Chinese Revolution, also known as the Xinhai Revolution. Some of the reasons for deposing imperial rule were that it was a weak and corrupt government which signed unequal foreign treaties. There was also the prevailing ethnic tension between the local Han Chinese against the foreign ruling Manchus. To make matters worse, there was widespread poverty, inequality, and famine, which made the locals revolt. The main revolutionary against the ruling Manchus was none other than Dr. Sun Yat Sen. He was a Western-trained doctor, a graduate of the Chinese University in Hong Kong. He was very much a Republican like the former President Abraham Lincoln of the United States of America. Dr. Sun formed the Revived China Society in Honolulu, where he was staying with his brother. He organized his first uprising in China in 1895. The uprising failed and led a life in exile in places like Europe, US, Canada, and Japan. Meanwhile, 1895, Perak had become one of the 4 states of the Federated Malay States. The other Federated Malay States were Selangor, Negri Sembilan, and Pahang. Each state had a British resident who advised the Sultan. The British resident was under the supervision of the British High Commissioner, who was also the governor of the Straits Settlements. In 1898, Leong Sin Nam returned to Malaya at the age of 18 years old. He worked in a tin mine under Mr. Leong Phi, who can be considered the first-generation Chinese miner turned Tokay. Later, Leong Sin Nam became a purchasing clerk. He had the opportunity to travel to China with Tokay Leong Phi to learn more about mining. Following his return, Leong Sin Nam ventured into tin mining himself but met several failures. In China, a rebellion had taken place. Members of the Society of Righteous and Harmonious Fist attacked foreign nationals, Chinese Christians, and laid siege on several foreign legations. These rebels practiced martial arts, and hence the rebellion was known as the Boxer Rebellion. As a result of their attacks on foreign legations, an alliance of 8 foreign nations teamed up to defeat the Boxers in 1901. The construction of the metal Hugh Low Street Bridge across the Kinta River, replacing the wooden structure, was completed in 1900. The picture on the bottom right is the Standard and Chartered Bank building, completed in 1902. The development of Ipoh New Town began around in 1907. This area is located on the eastern bank of the Kinta River and was transformed from paddy fields into an urban landscape by local tycoon Yao Tet Shin. The top left mansion was the residence of Yao Tet Shin. The bottom left building, the FMS building. In the middle is the Masjid India Muslim, completed in 1908. Then we have the Anderson School building and the clock tower in 1909. Dr. Sun co-founded the Tongminhui, the Chinese Revolutionary Alliance, in Tokyo, Japan in 1905. He then established Tongminhui branches in Southeast Asia. The Nanyangs were the overseas Chinese in Southeast Asia, particularly in Malaya and Singapore. Many of these Chinese had successful businesses and had accumulated much wealth. Dr. Sun referred these overseas Chinese as the mother of the revolution because they were the ones giving him the financial support required for the many uprisings. This picture showed Dr. Sun with the Nanyangs in Singapore. The Tongminhui was founded in Singapore in 1906. 2 years later, Singapore became the Nanyang headquarters. The principal leaders in Singapore were Teo Ong Hock, Tan Shor Nam, and Lim Ne Soon. This villa was built in 1901 by Boi Chuan Po, a businessman who owned the newspaper Union Times. It was later bought by Teo Ong Hock, who offered it to Sun Yat Sen for use as the Tongminghui's headquarters in Southeast Asia. Dr. Sun's first trip to Penang was in 1906. He stayed in the Shao Lan Tin Club and gave his speech regarding the 3 principles of the people. It was about nationalism, democracy, and people's livelihood. The Tongminghui was founded in Penang by principal leaders like Go Se Ing Kim Kang, Chen Hsin Chin, and Ku Bing Chang. In same year, Dr. Sun visited Ipoh. However, his visit ended abruptly when he was threatened by Mr. Fu Chu Chun, who was a reformist. He held many meetings in different locations like Gopang, Peipan, Kampar, and Ipoh. He visited Minglimbu and stayed with Mr. Li Guan Sui, who was a TMH leader. While in Taiping, he stayed with Chen Shuifan, who was considered Dr. Sun's concubine. Their relationship spanned over 20 years. She was deeply involved in Dr. Sun's revolutionary activities. Shuifan adopted a daughter from a rubber estate worker in Perak. Above is a picture of the Changchun Pu Villa in Taiping, which is now Entong Coffee Mill. The Ipoh TMH was founded in 1907 by 3 principal leaders. They were Tai Lei Sing, Li Guan Sui, and Oshun Kong. Branches were later established in Ipoh, Taiping, Sungay Sipit, Pre, Laha, Kampar, and Minglimbu. There were also supporters from Pusing, Gopang, Peipan, and Trono. 23 reading clubs were set up spreading revolutionary ideas. The revolutionary ideas were also spread through drama, vernacular newspapers, and schools. The Perak Amateur Dramatic Association was involved in the local dramas where returning workers from the mine and plantations were to be entertained. The Nanyangs and Perak made substantial contributions to the Chinese uprisings. There were many supporters. When Chiang Kai, a Hakka miner, went back to China and tried to assassinate an admiral in Canton but failed, he was killed in the incident. The Penang Philanthropic Union was a reading club set up Go Saying in 1908. The club served as a reading and discussion group for revolutionaries and intellectuals who supported the overthrow of the Qing dynasty. The building is now the Sun Yat Sen Memorial Center and is located in McAllister Road. In 1909, Dr. Sun visited Penang and moved the Nanyang headquarters from Singapore to Penang, the reason being there were more local supporters in Penang than in Singapore. The headquarters building at 120 Armenian Street is now the Sun Yat Sen Museum, Penang. This building once housed the Penang Philanthropic Union Club too before the club was moved to McAllister Road. Here are some pictures of the 1910s in Perak. The first tin dredge owned was by the Malayan Tin Dredging. A British company was installed in Batu Gajah in 1912. In the same year, the St. Michael Institution was built. The Ipoh Town Hall was built in 1916 to house the post office and the district police office. The Royal Ipoh Club was built around the year 1919 to serve the needs of the early expatriates in Ipoh. It was initially exclusive for the whites. The first railway station in Ipoh was a simple wooden structure to serve the Perak Railway. This early station was replaced by the majestic Moorish-style Ipoh Railway Station in 1917. By the 1910s, Leong Sin Nam had started several successful tin mines at Teluk Kruin, Minglembu, Pusing, and Phallum. He also had a lode mine which was later abandoned because of flooding. He was the chairman and managing director of the To Along Chinese Tin Limited, also known as Tanjong To Along Tin Mines Limited. In 1925, it was the first all-Chinese limited liability company formed in Perak. He took over the mining leases of the Ampong Tin Dredging Company and started the Lin Pang Kongsi. Following his successes in tin mining, he became increasingly involved in Chinese politics and became a Tong Menghui leader. He bought a bungalow from an English gentleman at 17 Gopeng Road, Ipoh, which became his official residence. He had a large family with 5 wives, 8 sons, and 8 daughters. His first 2 sons were adopted. In 1910, Dr. Sun Yat Sen founded the newspaper named Quang Wat at Po. This revolutionary newspaper rivaled the reformist newspaper called Penang Sin Po and was first published in the Tong Min Wee Penang headquarters at 120 Armenian Street. The newspaper still exists today. Dr. Sun stayed at 404 Dado Kromet Road with his family in 1910. He had 4 children, 1 son and 3 daughters. In this picture, seated from left to right are Chun Shui and his female companion, Lu Muzhin, his wife, and the 2 daughters Sun Yin and Sun Wan. On November 13, 1910, Dr. Sun held the Penang Conference at 404 Dado Kromet Road. He planned his last battle, the Second Guangzhou Uprising. There were already 9 failed uprisings earlier. He also spoke at the Penang Chinese Town Hall to gather support for the revolution and to raise money. A sum of 11,400 Straits dollars was raised in Perak. The Penang Conference. Here's the list of the 12 persons who attended the Penang Conference. Dr. Sun was the chairman and Huang Xing was second in command. Together they were known as Sun Huang during the Xinhai Revolution. Huang Xing was to become the first commander-in-chief of the Republic of China. He was also a politician and one of the founders of the Kuomintang political party. Hu Heyman would become Dr. Sun's chief secretary after the revolution and later the president of the Legislative Yuan. There was a representative to the Penang Conference from Ipoh named Li Ziashang. On November 14, 1910, a fundraising campaign was launched at the Nanyang headquarters at 120 Armenian Street. Dr. Sun's revolutionary activities were seen as a threat to the stability and interests of the British colonial administration in the region. In December 1910, Sir John Anderson, the governor of the Straits Settlements and the High Commissioner for the Federated Malay States, banished Dr. Sun from Malaya to maintain order and prevent any potential unrest. Dr. Sun left Penang and journeyed to the United States. The Second Guangzhou Uprising on April 27, 1911 failed. 72 revolutionaries were killed and 3 were from Gopeng. The Huang Huagang Memorial Park in Guangzhou was erected in memory of the 72 martyrs. The Wuchang Uprising was a mix of both planning and a bit of serendipity. Revolutionary groups had been preparing for an uprising against the Manchus, but the actual event was triggered by an accidental bomb explosion on October 9, 1911. This explosion exposed the revolutionary activities, forcing the revolutionaries to act sooner than planned. Following the explosion, police-led investigation discovered a list of secret society members within the Qing's new army. Facing arrest and possible execution, about 2,000 secret society members within the new army staged a coup. The governor for Hubei province fled, and within 2 days nearby Hanyang and Hankou were occupied. Modern-day Wuhan comprises Wuchang, Hankou, and Hanyang. The revolution quickly expanded. The revolutionaries telegraphed other provinces, and within 6 weeks, 15 provinces seceded from Qing control. The Wuchang uprising led to the Xinhai Revolution. October 10th is a very significant date in the Chinese calendar and is considered the National Day of the Republic of China. The Chinese Revolution ended about 4 months later, on February 12, 1912, with the abdication of Emperor Pu-yi. Meanwhile, in Ipoh, sympathizers to the Chinese Revolution organized meetings which were well attended by about 4,000 to 5,000 people. They helped raise funds for the revolution. About 2,000 tin mine workers left Perak for Guangzhou within a fortnight to join the revolution. Tokefu Chuchun, previously a reformist, switched allegiance to Dr. Sun. He was appointed the chief fundraising officer in Southeast Asia. A sum total of 234,000 Straits dollars was remitted from Malaya and Singapore to help the revolutionaries secure Fujian province. Dr. Sun was not directly involved in the Xinhai Revolution. He was in Denver, Colorado, United States then. Following the success of the Wuchang uprising, Dr. Sun stopped in Penang for the last time while en route to China. While in China, Dr. Sun was elected the provisional president of the Republic of China by the Provisional Senate in Nanking, which was the capital city of the Republic of China. January 1, 1912, was acknowledged to be the day of the founding of the Republic of China. The government had 5 branches, namely, the Executive Yuan, the Legislative Yuan, the Judicial Yuan, the Examination Yuan, and the Control Yuan. Emperor Puyi abdicated shortly in February 1912. Dr. Sun resigned as the provisional president in favor of General Yuan Shikai as part of a strategic move to ensure the stability and success of the newly established Republic of China. After the last Emperor Puyi's abdication, Dr. Sun recognized that Yuan Shikai had the military power and influence necessary to unify the country and maintain order. By stepping down, Dr. Sun aimed to prevent potential conflicts and secure Yuan's support for the new republic. The Kuomintang was founded by Dr. Sun and Song Jiaran. The first election of the Republic of China was held from December 1912 to February 1913. This election was for the National Assembly, which was a parliament consisting of a Senate and a House of Representatives. The Kuomintang, led by Song Jiaran, won a plurality in both houses. The Kuomintang was victorious against the Republican, Unity, and Democratic parties. The Kuomintang was registered in Ipoh in 1913. The Second Chinese Revolution began in 1913 as a response to Yuan Shikai's consolidation of power and his authoritarian rule. The revolution was primarily led by the Kuomintang and other revolutionary factions who were dissatisfied with Yuan's leadership. The immediate trigger for the revolution was the assassination of Song Jiaran, the leader of the Kuomintang, on March 22, 1913. Song was expected to become the premier after the Kuomintang won a majority in the National Assembly elections. His assassination was likely orchestrated by Yuan Shikai. In July 1913, 7 southern provinces declared their independence from Yuan's government. Guangxing organized an anti-Yuan force in Nanyang. However, the revolutionaries were poorly organized and quickly defeated by Yuan's Beiyang army. The failure of the Second Revolution resulted in the further consolidation of Yuan Shikai's power and the suppression of the Kuomintang. Dr. Sun and others were forced to flee to Japan. In January 1914, Yuan Shikai dissolved the National Assembly, ended Parliament, and abolished the Provisional Constitution. In July 1914, Dr. Sun established the Chinese Revolutionary Party in Tokyo to fight against the dictatorship and to promote the principles of human rights and livelihood. Chung Thai-fin was a prominent business magnate, planter, and tin miner. He was appointed a member of the Perak State Council in 1900. Together with Leong Sin Nam, they issued paper money of 10 cents value to overcome the shortage of coins in Perak during World War I. Chung Thai-fin would later become the last Capitan China of Perak from 1921 till his death in 1935. The Capitan China in Perak was appointed by the British colonial authorities. The role was established to serve as a liaison between the Chinese community and the colonial government, helping to maintain order and manage the affairs of the Chinese population. In October 1915, While in exile in Tokyo, Japan, Dr. Sun met Sung Ching-ling and married her. In December 1915, Yuan Shikai declared himself the Emperor of China, establishing the short-lived Hongston dynasty. This move was met with widespread opposition and led to the National Protection War, where various Chinese provinces declared independence and fought against Yuan's rule. The National Protection War, also known as the Anti-Monarchy War, was a civil war in China that took place between December 25, 1915 and July 14, 1916. The conflict arose in response to President Yuan Shikai's proclamation of the Empire of China, with himself as the Hongshan Emperor. During the National Protection War, military leaders in Yunnan, including Kai Yi and Tang Jiao, declared their independence and formed the National Protection Army to oppose Yuan's rule. Yuan's Beiyang army suffered several defeats, allowing other provinces in the south to declare their independence. Leong Sin Nam was conferred the Kukuo medals by General Tang Jiao, commander of the Yunnan Army, for meritorious service rendered during the re-establishment of the Republic of China. The Wong Lok Lam Club was founded in 1915 by prominent members of the Chinese community. The club played a significant role in the social and recreational life of the Chinese community in Ipoh. In this picture, Leong Sin Nam is seen together with Li Guan Sui, a prominent figure in Chinese politics. On March 22, 1916, Yuan Shikai was under immense pressure from the entire nation and was forced to abdicate. He resumed his role as president of the Chinese Republic, but died a few months later, on June 6, 1916. The National Protection War ended on July 14, 1916, with the provinces rescinding their declarations of independence. During the Warlord era of 1916 to 1928, there were three governments in existence in South China. They were the Provisional Government in Nanyang with the military government in Guangzhou under Generalissimo Dr. Sun and the Nationalist government in Guangzhou under President Li Yuanhong. A provisional government is a temporary government established to manage a political transition, often in the aftermath of a revolution, war, or the collapse of a previous government. Its primary purpose is to maintain order and stability while preparing for the establishment of a more permanent government structure. A map of China during the Warlord era. The Beiyang government was in the north. Independent warlords or cliques held power in the west of China. The nominal Kuomintang states were mainly in the south, central, east, and southeast coastal areas. Nationalist government of China had both a president and a premier. The president was the head of state, while the premier was the head of government known as the Yuan. The premier was responsible for overseeing the administration and implementing policies. In 1917, there was a fallout between President Li Yuanhong and Premier Duan Chirue regarding China's participation in World War I. Premier Duan was removed from office. During the turmoil, Zhang Sun, a monarchist general, restored Pu Yi as emperor. However, Premier Duan defeated General Zhang Sun after 12 days, annulled the Manchu Restoration, and restored the nationalist government. Meanwhile, Li Yuanhong resigned as president and Feng Guozhang became the next president. Premier Duan established a new government and China entered World War I on August 14, 1917. On the sidelines, the Russian revolutions also started in 1917. During the Manchu Restoration in 1917, Dr. Sun was in Guangzhou. He advocated unification, protection of the Provisional Constitution, and the re-establishment of Parliament. Dr. Sun established the Guangzhou military government in Guangdong with him as Generalissimo and started the Constitutional Protection Movement. Dr. Sun started the Constitutional Protection Wars. The two wars failed and regional warlords flourished. Upon failure of the Constitution Protection Wars, Dr. Sun was marginalized by the old Guangxi clique. Dr. Sun resigned as Generalissimo and became a member of the governing committee of the military government of Nationalist China. He teamed up with General Chen Jiangming, the military governor of Guangdong, against Lu Rongting of Old Guangxi clique and started the Guangdong-Guangxi War. Leong Sin Nam was conferred the Distinguished Service Medal by General Chen Jiangming, commander of the Guangdong Army, in recognition of valuable services rendered to the army. General Chen Jiangming was a lawyer, military general, revolutionary, and politician. Chen played a crucial role in the Xinhai Revolution, which led to the overthrow of the Qing dynasty and the establishment of the Republic of China. On October 10, 1919, Dr. Sun managed to re-establish the nationalistic government in Guangzhou. This shows Dr. Sun's presentation to Leong Sin Nam for helping him re-establish the Chinese Republic government. The Seia Wui Medal conferred on Leong Sin Nam by the Guangdong provincial government for distinguished services rendered to the re-establishment of the Republic of China. The Oi Kok Medal conferred on Leong Sin Nam by the Minister of Finance for distinguished services rendered to the Chinese Republic government. The Perak Cave was developed sometime around 1926. The Depression of 1920 to 1921 followed World War I. Governments and people faced problematic adjustments from war to peacetime economies. The returning troops increased the existing workforce, and there was significant unemployment. The poor fiscal and monetary policies caused severe deflation. The Spanish flu of 1918, with 17 to 50 million deaths, may also have contributed to the depression. Tin and rubber prices collapsed during this period, resulting in massive layoffs and wage reductions. The living standards of the plantation workers declined. The Depression, however, was short-lived and the economy bounced back vigorously, giving rise to the Roaring Twenties. It was the time when the telephone, radio, cars were mass-produced and available to the public. The young men and women developed a dance where they were seen like birds flapping their wings, and they were then known as the flappers. The Perak Chinese Chamber of Commerce was founded in 1907 by Tokai's Fu Chu Chun and Yao Tuk Sing. In 1920, Leong Sin Nam became the second president of Perak Chinese Chamber of Commerce, succeeding Fu Chu Chun. He echoed the Chinese community concerns in the Stevenson Restriction Scheme of 1922 to 1928 to curtail rubber production. Here is a picture showing the old Perak Chinese Chamber of Commerce building, which had been demolished. The Bank of Malaya was established in 1920 and Leong Sin Nam was a director of the bank. It encountered difficulties during the Depression and underwent voluntary liquidation in 1932. It later became a part of OCBC Bank through a series of mergers and acquisitions involving the Chinese Commercial Bank Limited Incorporated in 1912, Pohang Bank Limited Incorporated in 1917, and the Overseas Chinese Bank Limited Incorporated in 1919. 1921 saw the formation of Chinese Communist Party. In another twist, the Kuomintang formed an alliance with the Chinese Communist Party. This alliance, known as the First United Front, fought against the warlords. The alliance lasted from 1923 to 1927. Chen Jiongming was initially a supporter of Dr. Sun and helped him establish a military government in Guangzhou. However, their relationship soured when Chen Jiongming opposed Dr. Sun's plans to unify China through military force, which was the upcoming Northern Expedition. Instead, Chen advocated for a federalist system and peaceful unification. This disagreement led to a conflict between the two, and Chen attacked Dr. Sun's headquarters and residence in Guangzhou. Dr. Sun escaped to the warship Yongfeng and fled to Shanghai. The Mun Fu Medal was conferred on Leong Sin Nam by President Li Yuanhong of the Chinese government, in recognition of valuable services rendered while being chairman of the Perak Chinese Chamber of Commerce. This was the certificate of honor given to Leong Sin Nam by Dr. Sun for his generous contributions in 1922. Translated, the message simply read, Leong Sin Nam, donate the money, to praise generously, from Dr. Sun Yat Sen. In 1923, Dr. Sun with Tang Jiao, Soviet and Communist assistants retook Guangzhou from Chen Jiongming. Dr. Sun realized he needed his own army to continue his struggles and also for his own security. He established the Whampoa Military Academy, near Guangzhou, in preparation for the battles against the warlords. In 1923, Chiang Kai-shek became commandant of Whampoa Military Academy on returning from military training in Moscow. And in 1924, Chiang Kai-shek became head of Whampoa Military Academy. Back in the Federated Malay States in 1924, King Rama VI of Siam visited Perak. His Royal Highness traveled by rail from Thailand to Kuala Kangsar to visit Sultan Iskandar Shah. Leong Sin Nam was in attendance and received a medal from King Rama VI. In 1925, Dr. Sun died of liver cancer. However, some said it was gallbladder cancer. The Yunnan Guangxi War was a succession war fought for the control of the Chinese Nationalist Party after Dr. Sun's death. The war was launched by Tang Jiao of the Yunnan clique against the Chinese Nationalist Party leadership under Hu Hanmin and the Guangxi clique. Tang Jiu was defeated by Li Zongren of the Guangxi clique. Chiang Kai-shek's National Revolutionary Army finally wiped out Chen Jiongming's Guangdong army. The Nationalist Party became stronger after Tang Jiao and Qin Jiangmin influences were reduced and eliminated. During the British colonial period, the process of becoming a member of the Perak State Council involved an appointment by the British resident. The British resident was the chief advisor to the Sultan and had significant influence over the administration of the state. The council included both Malay and Chinese leaders, reflecting the diverse population of Perak. The Perak State Council was established in 1877, following the Pankar Treaty of 1874, which marked the beginning of British intervention in the Malay states. The council's formation aimed to create a more systematic and orderly administration, modeled on the British system. Leong Sin Nam was a member of the Perak State Council in 1925. The floods of 1926 in Ipoh was called the Great Flood due to its devastating impact and widespread destruction. The heavy rains that began on Christmas night lasted for 50 hours, causing severe flooding across the region. The floodwaters reached alarming levels, submerging large parts of the town and causing significant damage to infrastructure, homes, and businesses. The flood disrupted daily life, with people using boats to navigate the flooded streets. The flood also disrupted railway services, stranding passengers traveling from Singapore to Ipoh. The construction of the Kinta River bunds began earlier in 1919 as there was a major flood then. The bunds were strengthened further after 1926. In 1926, the National Revolutionary Army under Chiang Kai-shek started the Northern Expedition against warlords. The National Revolutionary Army started from Guangzhou and swept northwards, joined by a few other friendly parties. In the same year, Tang Jiao and Qin Jiangmin formed the China Public Interest Party in San Francisco and later moved the headquarters to Hong Kong. The Perak Chinese Maternity Association was established in 1923. It was responsible for managing the Perak Chinese Maternity Hospital. The hospital was relocated from Jalan Chamberlain to its current location on Jalan Raja Permaisuri Bainan, formerly Kampar Road. The hospital was officially opened on October 7, 1939. It is now called the Perak Community Specialist Hospital. Leong Sin Nam was president of the Perak Chinese Maternity Association in 1926. The Perak Chinese Assembly Hall was founded by Leong Sin Nam in 1927. Its membership comprised of Chinese guilds, associations, and individuals. Its main aims were to foster cultural, educational, and social activities. The building was completed in 1939 with the adjacent Yuk Choi School. The Nanyang Decade. In 1928, Chiang Kai-shek became the chairman of the nationalist government of the Republic of China following his military successes. The Nanyang Decade was a period of relative calm and progress in China. Nanjing or Nanking became the capital of the Republic of China. The Nanyang Decade, the Great Depression, and the Second Sino-Japanese War all had a mark on Perak and its people. Perak, then, was a state within the Federated Malay States. Leong Sin Nam received the Malayan Certificate of Honor in 1929 from King George V. The Great Depression of 1929 was a result of the stock market crash in America. On Black Thursday, October 24, 1929, the stock market opened 11% lower than the previous day's close. On Black Monday, October 28, 1929, the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell by 13%. And on Black Tuesday, October 29, 1929, the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell by another 12%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average at its peak in September 1929 was at 381.17 points, and it fell to its lowest in July 1932 at 41.22 points. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost about 89% of its value. The New Deal program started by President Franklin D. Roosevelt helped the American people and eventually a global recovery. The Kinta Unemployment Committee was established in 1929. It was initiated by Leong Sin Nam, O Kim Shang, and Lau Ching. There was a monthly relief fund for the unemployed. The Perak Chinese Chamber of Commerce organized relief camps for food, accommodation, and medical services. The unemployed were given job assistance to find new jobs. Free food was distributed, particularly to those selected for repatriation. There were 50,494 Chinese repatriated between 1930 to 1932. The Perak Chinese Chamber of Commerce also lobbied the colonial government for assistance. The Times of Malaya was Ipoh's first newspaper. It was established in 1930. It was initially known as the Planters and Miners Gazette and aimed to promote the interests of the Federated Malay States and the Straits Settlements. It played a significant role in the development of Ipoh, advocating for the establishment of the Kinta Sanitary Board and the transfer of the state capital from Taiping to Ipoh. It was edited by J.S. Jennings. In 1930, Leong Sin Nam initiated the idea on the formation of the Perak Association. The idea came to fruition and the association bought the Chinese embassy building at 21 to 22 Jalan Bendahara in 1949 and headquartered at the location. The Malayan census was conducted in 1931. The population of Malaya then was 3.8 million people. The ethnic composition was 43% Chinese, which numbered 1.64 million people, 40% Malays, and 10% Indians. While there was relative calm and peace in most parts of China, during the Nanyang decade, an incident occurred in the north. The Mukden Incident, also known as the Manchurian Incident, occurred on September 18, 1931. It was a staged event by Japanese military personnel as a pretext for the Japanese invasion of Manchuria. Lieutenant Sumori Kawamoto of the 29th Japanese Infantry Regiment detonated a small quantity of dynamite near a railway line owned by Japan's South Manchuria Railway near Mukden. The explosion was weak and failed to destroy the track, but the Japanese army accused Chinese dissidents of the act and used it as an excuse to launch a full invasion. The incident led to the occupation of Manchuria and the establishment of the Japanese puppet state of Manchukuo. Leong Sin Nam was a Perak State Council member in 1932. He was seated on the right on this photograph. Leong Sin Nam was at his prime of life in the 1930s. He built a bungalow in Tanah Rata, Cameron Highlands, Pahang, in 1933. He named it Een Yun Court, which meant enjoying panoramic views of clouds atop the pavilion. It had underground food storages and an escape route. It is now the Overseas Mission Fellowship's bungalow. In 1934, recognizing Cameron Highlands as a potential holiday resort destination, he and a group of people formed the Eastern Hotel Company, where he was the chairman and built the Eastern Hotel. The company's aim in building the hotel was to provide comfortable accommodation at a cheap rate to the Chinese and others. The hotel was opened on January 19, 1935, and the Straits Times reported that the Eastern Hotel consists of 12 bedrooms with private verandas and bathrooms attached, one common or public lounge, a large dining room with kitchen and servants' quarters, a garage, and for exercise tennis and badminton courts in front of the main building together with a lily and fish pond. This hotel was a great help to the further development of Cameron Highlands, for soon more people went there for a holiday. In 1935, following the success of the hotel, Leong Sin Nam built another bungalow in Ringlet, Cameron Highlands. Leong Sin Nam was the chairman of the Perak Trust and Investment Company Limited, established in 1934. Leong Sin Nam was given the Silver Jubilee Medal by King George V and Queen Mary in 1935 and the Loyal and Valuable Service Medal by King George V in 1935 as well. A visit to the Leong Sin Nam bungalow in Cameron Highlands by Sir Shenton Thomas, the British High Commissioner and Governor of the Straits Settlements, and Mr. H. Shear Leonard, the British resident of Pahang, on January 21, 1935. Sir Shenton Thomas was a British colonial administrator who served as the governor of the Straits Settlements. He held this position from 1934 to 1942 and again from 1945 to 1946. His tenure was marked by significant events, including the Japanese invasion of Singapore during World War II, during which he was taken as a prisoner of war. The Chinese Industrial Company Limited was incorporated on August 29, 1935. Leong Sin Nam led a group of delegates to Guangdong and Guangxi to explore business opportunities in China. Pictures showed Leong Sin Nam at the Ipoh railway station and on board the Pacific and Orient liner, Steamship Cathay. On the left is a photo book which documented his trip to China. Leong Sin Nam was the president of the Perak Chinese Chamber of Commerce, representing the Chinese Industrial Company Limited during the trip. A group photograph with Chinese officials and foreign military officers taken during the 1010 festival in 1935. Leong Sin Nam on board Shaoho battleship and inspecting a guard of honor. Leong Sin Nam and team were welcomed by Chinese officials in China. While in Malaya, Leong Sin Nam was at various times an advisor to the Chinese Ministry of Agriculture and Commerce, a warden of mines for Yunnan province, a member of the Economic Committee of the Chinese government, a committee member of the Guangdong branch of the Reconstruction Commission, and a member of the People's Assembly of the Republic of China in Malaya. Here are some honors Leong Sin Nam received from the Minister of Finance in the Chinese consulate in Penang. Leong Sin Nam had a great passion for education. He was particularly fond of establishing schools which he knew would bring up the livelihood of the Chinese. He was involved in schools. Banhua School, Minglimbu in 1914. Min Tet School, Ipoh, in 1913. Yuk Choi Middle School, Ipoh. Perak Girls' School, Ipoh. Shugwun School, Batong. Waikechi School, Pussing. Kwanghan Kokman School, Pussing. Leong Sin Nam was at other times also involved in other associations. He was the president, Perak Mining and Planting Association. Chairman, Ipoh Ratepayers Association. Chairman, Overseas Chinese Mining Association. And member, Perak Chinese Advisory Board. Leong Sin Nam was also involved in several other businesses like the Malayan Chinese Daily News in Kuala Lumpur, the Perak Chinese Daily News in Ipoh, and the Hakka Chung Kia Bank. A photo of the Perak State Council in 1936. Leong Sin Nam is seated on the far right. The Kinna Swimming Club in Ipoh with its Olympic-sized swimming pool was opened to the public in 1936 by Sultan Iskandar Shah of Perak. The pool relied on a continuous supply of fresh water brought by pipes from the Leong Sin Nam mines near the Kladang Hills. Leong Sin Nam donated a diving board to the club. Leong Sin Nam received the Coronation Medal from King George VI and Queen Elizabeth in 1937. Leong Sin Nam was bestowed the O.B., becoming an officer of the Most Distinguished Order of the British Empire, by King George VI in 1937. The ceremony to confer the honor was presided by the British resident, Mr. C. Kator, who pointed out in his speech that the O.B. conferred on Leong Sin Nam was a very rare one, that being only the second time a non-British subject had been honored by the king, the first being the late Tukay Lokyu of Kuala Lumpur. The High Commissioner to the Federated Malay States, Sir Shinton Thomas, then made his speech prior to the reading of the royal warrant for the conferment of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. I am commanded by His Majesty the King to present to Mr. Leong Sin Nam the badge of his appointment to be an honorary officer of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. Mr. Leong Sin Nam has been in Malaya for 50 years, and in the state of Perak particularly he has been associated with many public charitable bodies which have for their object the well-being of the local Chinese. Since 1920 he has been a member of the Perak State Council and a Justice of the Peace. He is a committee member of the Perak Chinese Maternity Hospital. In 1929, he was awarded the Malayan Certificate of Honor. His influence has always been exercised in the best interest of the community, and his unobtrusive but generous philanthropy has supported many deserving institutions. It is a pleasure to us all, and especially to the Chinese people of Perak, that His Majesty has been graciously pleased to recognize the public services of so worthy a citizen. I trust that Mr. Leong Sin Nam will be spared for many years to give his services to the state and to its people, whose gratitude and admiration he has long since won. The ceremony was held at the Ipoh Club, which, for the first time in its history, was thrown open for the entertainment of a Chinese Tokay, his wife, and friends. The year 1937 was a tumultuous time for China. There was the Marco Polo Bridge incident. The conflict began when Japanese troops, conducting night maneuvers near the bridge, demanded entry into the nearby town of Wamping to search for a missing soldier. The Chinese garrison refused, and a shot was fired, leading to an exchange of gunfire. Despite the missing soldier returning to his lines, the skirmish escalated into a full-scale battle. The Japanese then invaded Beijing, Tianjin, Shanghai, Nanjing with dire consequences. The Nanjing Massacre, or the Rape of Nanking, followed the incident. Leong Sin Nam received this certificate from Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek for rendering valuable services to China while being chairman of the Perak China Distress Relief Fund. The China Distress Relief Fund was started in 1938, following the Overseas Chinese Conference in Singapore. The fund paid for medical supplies, war material, and weapons during the Sino-Japanese War. It also helped recruit volunteer drivers, mechanics, and militants. The fund ceased in 1941 when the Japanese occupied Malaya. The Leong Sin Nam Badminton Challenge Trophy was for tournaments between Perak, Selangor, and Penang. Leong Sin Nam was active in the Perak Badminton Association and the Kinta District Badminton Association. A picture taken of the Perak State Council in 1939 with Leong Sin Nam seated on the second left. Leong Sin Nam died on January 19, 1940, at age 60 in Port Dickson. His body was brought back to Ipoh by train on January 22nd. This is the booklet where most of the eulogies and photos were taken from. His body was laid in the family residence in Ipoh for 11 days. On the day of the funeral, all shops were closed, and the funeral procession was reported to be 2 miles long. Leong Sin Nam was the first to be buried in the Cantonese cemetery in Gopeng Road, Ipoh. He had requested the land from the government earlier. 38,523 square feet of land was given for his tomb. His residence in Gopeng Road, Ipoh, was bequeathed to the Perak King Association. On December 22, 1957, a dedication service was held, together with the unveiling of Leong Sin Nam bronze bust at his residence in Gopeng Road. Leong Sin Nam's life story is a testament to his resilience, leadership, and dedication to both his homeland and the Chinese community in Malaya. His legacy will continue to inspire future generations to strive for excellence and to contribute positively to country and local communities.